Welcome back to What Had Happened Was. And this time I went to Texas, to a state that thinks so little of itself it gave itself a Lone Star review. Can kind of see why. It's not until every drop of oil is sucked out of that land until they come up with a better means of transportation. They just refuse to do mass transit there. Instead, they will spend an obscene amount of money building infrastructure on top of infrastructure. So when we were there in San Antonio, they were spending the evenings piling up traffic so that they could build highways on top of other highways as a solution. Not mass transportation, which would just be so much easier and last so much longer and be such a better waste of resources. But no, we've got to make sure we double down on the crazy with the cars. So go Texas. Oh, is it hot? People were lovely. Nothing against anybody that lives there. I mean, if you choose to live there or have to live there, I'm sorry. But it is not for me. Mainly because, I don't know how to hunt or fish or tell a woman what she should do with her fetus. I don't know anything of the Texas rules. I'm not a big gun fan. So right there, don't fit in. I don't follow football. So again, another strike against me. It's State and I are oil and water. So didn't work out for me. And just traveling in general is never a pleasant experience in the United States. If you've ever had the opportunity to travel within Europe and you see how they choose to travel there versus how we choose to travel here, it is vastly different. I always compare Rome airport to one of our airports. And in Rome, they have this mall that is full of Gucci and Louis Vuitton and all the fancy stores with all the fancy stuff. And they have relaxing lounge chairs and iPads as far as the eye can see for you to use. And they have this woman playing a baby grand piano in the corner. And it's just a lovely experience. And the planes are roomy. Everything is just so nice. We just shuttle ourselves around here like cattle. It's crazy. We have those hard, uncomfortable chairs. Half the time, the electronic plugs don't work. You're waiting in line forever for a Starbucks. You've got kids running around with permanent Kool-Aid smiles and 48 pounds of crap in their diapers. And it's just a nightmare to travel in the United States. It's like, why do we choose to do this to ourselves? Oy vey. Well, we can't be trusted with these nice things. I know from when we fixed the metro here, it was gleaming, shining new escalators, and they revamped the cars. And the very next day, there was people had carved their name into the seats. People had scratched up all the escalator chrome and shiny stuff. Like, we can't be and peed on everything. That's our go-to. If you don't have a Sharpie, you can always just pee on it. I guess that's what we do. Traveling just sucks. I mean, I love the destination, but getting there, they say the journey is half the fun. I don't know. I would argue that it is not pleasant experience. You get through the TSA pre-check, like you get into the line, and then it is like a reality show, game show. Like it's just, you're never fast enough to put your shit on the little conveyor belt. And did I take off put the phone in there and don't lose your ID and make sure you get all this and get that in there and you're not moving fast enough and the person behind you is waiting and then you got, oh my God, it is so stressful. Oh my God, I hate traveling. And it's not until you're around the general public that you realize I'm doing okay mentally. There's a lot of strange people there. The dynamics is all over the board. I watched as the family was rushing because they weren't allowed to have water. So remember when everyone was collecting those big dumb cups, those pink Stanley cups they had to have? Yeah, these two little girls, they said, oh, you can't have water go through the TSH. So they threw them away. Those are like $50 a pop. They're just comfortable with throwing that away. At the same time, you had this woman that went to CVS before the airport and bought big vats of shampoo and conditioner and body wash before she got on the plane. I mean, these poor people at the TSA, I've just like, wow, people are really dumb. It's nice to be home. It makes you appreciative when you do all this traveling and all the things you take for granted. I have a lot of good things going for me here in DC. Well, I can say that because I don't watch the news, but I've got the metro, which is super nice and convenient. I didn't have to worry about traffic and Ubers and all that stuff. I just hopped on the metro when I got home. It was super easy. It was lovely. Missed that when I was in Texas. It was hot in Texas. I don't know how they deal with that. It's like soul-crushing heat. It was a lovely time with lovely people. I just love the people I work with. And so all that was, the people are nice. So I hope you don't think that I'm complaining about the people, because everybody was super lovely. It's just the environment was just, and I have very few things in common with the lovely people. We can't talk football or sports in general, guns. I hate guns. So, well, and if you've listened to my military story, guns don't like me either. But it's nice to be home. I'm very appreciative when I travel to other places of how good I have it. It's not until I see how it could be, and I'm like, oh, that's right. This is nice. I've been spoiled. I've been here 10 years. So yeah, I've gotten kind of spoiled, and I didn't realize that until I leave. So just be appreciative of what you got. And for God's sakes, there are a million YouTube videos on traveling hacks, and I follow their advice, and it has spared me a lot. First and foremost, bring those. You can get them for cheap on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description there. These cheap little fans, because you don't know if during your transfer flight in Chicago that someone's going to spill jet fuel all over, and you're sitting in this hot tin can with no AC because they can't run the AC while they're cleaning up an oil spill in the plane. They can't do that. So you just sit there baking, and evidently they can't give you water because we just sat on the plane for 90 minutes and nobody offered water. But I had heard horror stories like this, and I came prepared. So I had my little water bottle ready to go. I filled up before I got on the plane. I had my little fan. I was ready. So thank you, YouTube, for all your advice, because I was prepared. So thanks again. All right, my bitter diatribe about traveling is over. But yeah, take a moment if when you travel and you go to these places, and just remember all your creature comforts at home, and don't take them for granted. We're pretty spoiled. All right. I don't want to poo-poo on Texas entirely. Again, who am I? I'm not one to judge on that. I know it sounds like I am, but it's just not for me. Their oil doesn't mix with my water. But there was this lovely area I had to tell you about. It's called the Pearl. And what a gem. A coworker of mine who lives there gave us a grandiose tour. It is part of the Riverwalk. So there's the touristy end of the Riverwalk, which is what everyone sees when they go to San Antonio. It's got all the typical party places like Bubba Gump restaurant and all that stuff. But on the very far quiet end, where all the museums are, is this little area called the Pearl, which was a brewery that they converted into this lovely hotel, and it's right by one of the 4 culinary institutes in the United States. So there's 4 major ones, and one of them just happens to be right there in San Antonio. And what a great idea they did. So they converted the brewery into a hotel, and then they have this food court area where the graduates of the Culinary Institute, they come and open up their idea for a restaurant inside this little mini food court and give it a test drive and see if the patrons like it and see what works and what doesn't. And I thought, what a genius idea that is. And then go falling in love with anything, because obviously the turnover is pretty high with that. But what a great idea. And oh my God, the food was amazing over there. So nice. It was super quiet, super laid back, and everything was clean and pristine. And it was a little oasis in the state of Texas. It was sort of antithesis of everything else. No truck nuts to be seen there. No over 40 Fuelin' Foxy t-shirts with beer stains on it. Nope. We went to a nice French restaurant, and pants were required. So it's nice to know that exists. And that's a little haven for those that live in Texas, that these places exist. So you can't judge the entire state by, San Antonio, which I guess is one of the 10 largest cities in the United States. There was something else I forgot to mention. See, good things about Texas. It's not just me complaining about Texas. They're huge. It's an understatement. Fans of Whataburger. And I had no idea, but we were going for lunch for Whataburger to see what all the hype is about. And they're really good burgers. But I guess they have, I don't know, special needs program. I don't know how to play. Just people that would normally not be able to get a job elsewhere, they can get a job with Whataburger. And holy crap, we should implement that everywhere, because it was really a nice experience. The whole thing was awesome. So I have to say kudos to that. What a great idea. The service was awesome. The food was great. and they really give back to the community there with their Whataburger. And everyone in Texas is big fans, big fans. Like there's football, and then there's Whataburger. Well, no, there's gun, then football, then Whataburger. But wow, great idea though. Really liked that. So I just had to not poo-poo on the entire state of Texas, and I'm sure they're very concerned about my opinion of their state. I mean, I can understand.